Hi, my name is Colbin Carl, and I'm a member of Group 19, and I will be presenting the artifact review for the web application portion of our project. Now, our sprint goal for work in the last 2 weeks included making improvements to the look and feel of our user interface, as well as the addition and refinement of features relating to the creation and viewing of session forms. I'm starting off with the look and feel changes, which were all covered by Edward. We now have a new logo and a new favicon that match the ASU color theme that we added in the last sprint. So we can see that we have a new red logo on the login screen, as well as our favicon now matches the color to add some consistency to the user interface. And the other large change that we added was the creation of the home page, which has quick links to some common pages that users might need quick access to, such as the form builder and captures of animals, as well as a quick way to get to the settings. Now, as far as the changes for session forms, we've added a few new things. First of all, we have added a new form builder from fixture functionality so that whenever we load up the web application in development, we always have a session form that's already been created. So we do this by creating this from a text file that has a definition of the session form, and it just loads this in when the application is first launched. That way, if we want to work with functionality relating to session forms, we don't have to create one first every single time. There's one already ready for us. The next change that we implemented in this sprint was the addition of initial and final entries for session forms. So at a high level, what this means is that in the mobile application, when you are starting a session, when you first click what session you would like to start, it will show you a section for these initial form inputs. So for example, if we were starting this session, right when you start it, it would ask for the first and second recorder, and it would ask you for the site that you are currently collecting data at. And there's now a section for final inputs as well. So this is once you have finished entering in all your animals and recording all of your observations, then you will be presented with a second set of form inputs at the very end as you're closing out. So for example, this would record how long that session was, whether or not there were any captures while the recorders were out in the field, and maybe any additional notes. So breaking this into two sections essentially allows us to wrap the workflow of recording animals with some information at the beginning and at the end. And the final addition that we have for this sprint was creating the table view for the viewing your session forms. So for example, we have our animal session here, which I just showed in the form builder, but now we have a very detailed and very interactive table view of all of our session information. So this combines inputs from both the initial and the final session form entries. So for example, we can see that these first three inputs were from the beginning of the session, the recorder 1, 2, and the site. And these last few columns relate to the final entries, which were how long the session were, whether there were captures, and any final notes. And much like the data form tables, we have a bunch of rich interaction as far as being able to select different session forms or different specific sessions to filter down by certain text parameters, and to also remove certain columns and to export all of this information into a CSV file. And that wraps up the functionality for the web application. So you can see that we did meet our sprint goal by adding improvements to the look and feel of the user interface, as well as adding and refining features relating to the creation and viewing of session forms.
Sprint for data collection, we added two key capabilities, one of which is selecting from a list of projects, and the other is being able to continue to select from different data forms to collect for a project. So when clicking collect data now, you are presented with all projects that are found in the database. I will select demo here. This was a display of the session form, which is the top level information that is required for a session to be recorded. I'm just going to enter in some dummy values here. This is the new form selection page. This actually finds all the data forms that are available for this specific project and shows them here. A user is able to select from these forms, continue on, enter in the data. In this case, I'm just going to leave it all blank. Be shown the confirmation page that was added last time, and then get taken back to select from another list of forms. When done, they simply click End Session, and they're taken back to the main page.
The scope of the sprint goal included adding functionality to allow users to choose a server to sync to. To facilitate this, on new installs, an option to add a new server will appear. Click the button here. This new UI allows the user to enter the server's name and address. In addition, input validation is performed to ensure the name field is not empty and that the app can connect to the address provided. And when necessary, it will add the HTTP protocol portion to the address entered. Now, there's no server at this address, but the app will try to connect for 20 seconds. If it cannot connect, it will show an error dialog to the user. As we see here, the app has told the user it cannot connect to the server and to try again after checking the address. Hit OK. Now let me enter the correct address. Add server again. Now the user will be notified that the server has been added successfully, and they return to the sync activity page. Lastly, we've added a button to change the server at any point. Here. Now, change the server will delete all data, so the user is notified of that. And hit yes. And the user is brought back to change server page. Thank you.